Hello everyone, this is Professor Kent. Today's recording is to show you chapter 2 challenge exercise, the name of the company that we are going to be working with, Brides. And my last video in chapter 1, I recorded a video for movers, which was related to the first module. Now we're going to be talking about the second module, which is your accounts receivable module, and then the company that you're working with is Bride. So make sure you unzip the Bride's company, or you can download it from the publisher, Top Hats, or you could download it from the Blackboard that your professor given you the data files. Again, you do need data files in order to work with this exercise. I already unzipped it, and I already have the transactions at the side. So for the first thing I'm going to do is double click on the Brides. One is unzipped. You're going to have two files, SAJ and SAI. SAI is your Sage 50 files. So I'm going to double click it. Once you double click it, it will go into your Sage 50 Sage 50 program. So once you're in the program, now the second thing you need to do is you need a challenge exercise from the back of the chapter. Again, it is from the chapter 2B, and we are going to accept the date for April 30th, and then I already have my other window open. So let's see if I could open my other window. So we have the challenge exercise ready for us. It is right here. So on the left side I have a challenge exercise which we are going to be doing, and again we are going to be doing the receivable module. So everything that we're going to be doing today will be in the receivable module, and when you're doing in the receivable module, I'm trying to, so let's see if I can move this to the other side. So the first one is we have to get a Bride and unzip it, and the instructions how to unzip it is by right clicking it, unzipping it. And our first transaction happens on May 3rd. And what did we do? We issued a sales order. The order number is 30 to Maryland Bridal Fashion for 4 bridesmaid dresses, and then the cost of each, this is the style number, and the cost of each dress will be $410 plus the HST, and it is $210 net 30, and the total order for this sales order is $1853, and it will be delivered on May 27th. So what we're going to do is, the first thing you're going to do is, under the receivables we have customers. These are some of the customers that already bought bought the stuff from us. And now what we're going to do is, this is, if it's a sales order, we're going to go to the order. Once the order becomes an invoice, so quote becomes an order becomes an invoice, when you receive money it becomes a receipt. So first thing you're going to do is create an order, and in this case they are saying what order are we creating, and they told us the order number is 30. So what we do is we change the order number to be 30, and then who we're selling it to, Maryland Bridal Fashion. So when did we issue an order? May 3rd. Now we have an April 30th date. That means I cannot do this till I advance my date to my April 30th. Again, this is like what we showed you in our last class, was in my last video. You needed to advance your date, and I'm trying to advance my date. So you go to the right side, we have a calendar, and then you're going to move your date to May 3rd. So May 3rd, that's when you're going to move it, and we say okay. So now we're going to go back to what we were trying to do. You could double click it, or you could say create an order, and then again it will be your Maryland bridal shop, and then the order number is 30. The date of the order is May 3rd. And then item number, it tells you what item number they are going to be ordering from us. If you double click it, and it gives you different styles. In this case, they told us the style number is BM126, so it's BM126. So we're going to look at BM26, and you're going to select it, and they order four of these dresses, and then it's 210 net 30, and it's 1853. But we also need to put a ship date, which is the delivery date. So this will be your delivery date. So when I'm going to go to my shipping will be the May 27th. That's when it's going to be shipped. So that's when it's going to be May 7th. So this is everything is there. Our order should be 1853 on the left side, and that is my total order. So when I display this journal entry, there is not going to be any transaction, because sales order, they're just ordering. They just want to order. We haven't exchanged anything. We haven't given them the items yet. So if order does not become an item till we ship it. So you're going to still record this transaction. It says must be entered greater than the next number, and I say yes, because we started with the 1 and this order is 30. So we are going to go to our next one. We received a check for 89, and it is a net of discount. So what we're doing is receiving money on the 3rd, and then it will be a receipt. So we are receiving a check. So you're going to create an receipt. Who are we receiving it from? It says we're receiving from Beb Bridal. So we drop down is Beb's Bridal, and receipt number is your check number. In this case, the check number is 689. This is the date, and then there's a discount. So you always want it to go from the left to the right. If you go from the right, it's not going to be right amount. They want you to do 330. So I will tab it over, and then it comes the right amount. So that's what we're paying for. We're paying for invoice number 380, and the $60 is my discount, and this is my check receipt. We received a check for 330. So if I display this receipt journal, I will say cash in the bank account, sales discount, and accounts receivable. Again, you go from the left to the right. Don't click on the right side, otherwise the amount is not going to be correct. I post it, and then we have our next transaction is on the 5th. I advance my session date to my 6th, so we could do our next transaction. So that's on the 6th. What did we do on the 6th is we sold something, but they used a credit card, and it is from Navneet Benvet for one bridal gown, and then they also got some accessories. So we have more than one item that is being sold to them. So first thing is going to be, it's a sales invoice at this point, and then you double click on it, or you could use a drop down window. In this case, it's not a pay later, it is a credit card. The credit card is your universal credit card. And then who did we sell it to? We sell it to Navneet. In this case, you can add the customer here. You could do a quick ad, or you could do a full ad. If in this case, I'm going to add it, and you could add, if you add it, you have to input everything that is here. The name of the customer is Navneet. I don't know the address for this person, so we leave that blank. In this case, we don't know the address. They didn't tell us. They just told us the credit authorization number. That's all they did. So next part you're going to do is you're going to go to the option. Now they are not going to get 2%, because this, when you use credit card, there is no 2%, no 210 net 30 for them. And then you could also change this to universal credit too when you're creating it. And then is this HST exempt? No, there's an HST on it. So these are some of the things that you needed to add. So if I were to do it, I will save and close. When you do this, if you have the address, you can add the address, but we don't have the address. And the invoice number is 401. The date is on the 6th. And then first thing you're going to do is the item. So first item is double click on it, and it was a gown. If you look at it, it's for for four bridesmaids, and the style is sorry, the one bridal gown, and the style is BG253. Let's look at BG253 and how many of them, and it is one of them. So that's, I tab it over, then you go to the next line, and we what they did is they also sold some of the accessories, and they sold four of them. The code is AC30. So double click on it, it will be AC30. Let's see if it's there. AC30, those are my accessories, and they order four of them. So that's what it is. Everything is right. They don't get a discount. Everything is here. But if you look at it, when I display a journal entry, my journal entry comes into, because every time we have a credit card, what we're going to do is we have something called charges that we have to pay the bank, because we're using a credit card, so we have to pay the bank. So this will be your transaction. So the sales of gowns, sales of accessories, we have an HST, and it cost us less, and we're selling it for more. In this case, it will be called universal credit card receivable. So I close this, and then I come back to where was my invoice. In this case, you could also do it from there too, or you could set it up in the customer. So I am going to post this transaction. We did everything, and I'm going to post that transaction. Journal entry 2 is done. Now we are going to go to my next one. Is we sold 3 bridal gowns, and we sold it to Brenda, and it is 210 net 30, and the amounts total is the 2712. So let's go to who did we sell it to. In this case, we sold it to Brenda's Dresses. It is pay later because it is 210 net 30. What did we sell? BG 24 224, and it is 3 of them. And then what happened, then we go to our next line. We didn't sell them accessories, the $800 each. Now what happens is, in this case, there is a payment 210 net 30. If that doesn't show up, you needed to add it in there, 210 and net 30. So Brenda, and then what we're gonna do is 210 net 30 should be there, 2712. When I post this entry, they're saying it exceeds the credit limit. This customer must have a credit limit. If they exceed that credit limit, you get this message. That means in a real life, it tells you that you're selling them more than what their credit limit was. So if you have to say okay in order to accept this entry. So we did that. My next entry will be, you sold 3 gowns to style number is BG362 8, and then also accessory, and they said that we needed to enter this person, and it's an enter a new customer. We needed to enter with your name. So whatever your name is, that's what you're going to be entering. So in this case, I don't have that. I'm going to add it, whatever your name is. So I'm just going to put your name, I'm just going to put your actual name. So whatever your name is, that's what you're going to be adding. Do not do your actual name, because that's not your name. Is whatever your name is, that's what you're going to be doing. So your actual name, address, dresses. If my name is Karen, that's what I will be doing. The contact name will be whatever your name is. That's what you're going to be doing, whatever your name is. So I'm just going to put it as a your name, because that's what your name is. When you go to the options, you wanted to make sure that you have a 210 and net 30 is there. So when you go under the taxes, it's HST 13. So they said that it is it is 210 net 30. They have a credit limit. If they have a credit limit, I'm going to go to statistics and I'm going to enter the 5,000 here. So they can buy from us for 5,000. Anything it goes over, that will be then you get that message that we just got uh, from the other transaction. So I'm going to advance my date first because the transaction happens on the 9th. So we're going to go to the 9th. We say okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to create an invoice. Double click on the invoice. That's the date is 9, and what we sold it to, your name, whatever your name is. In this case, your name is that, and the BG362. I select that, and then what you're going to do, how many of them they did, 3 bridal. I tab it over, then go to the next line. We also sold them accessories, and that is AC25. So you're going to double click and you're going to look for AC25. Those are the accessory, and in this case it is 10 of them that we had to do, and each is 25. The total will be 2. It says the total invoice total is 2994. So that's what the total is, 2994.50. So we know that we did the entry, everything is done correctly. Let's display the amount, the journal entry. It should be for 2994. That will be for your accounts receivable. I close it. Now we are ready, post it, and then now we are ready to do our next transaction. Our next transaction is that they returned. So they returned, and they returned on the 14th. So when you're doing the 14, our original invoice was 403. So original invoice was on the 9th. How many days are gone by? 9th, 10th is gone, 11th is gone, 12th is gone, 13th is gone, and there's 4 days are gone by. If 4 days are gone by, first of all, when you're creating a return, it has to be done under the sales invoice. And then when you do an invoice, whatever the invoice, that you need to look it up what the invoice was. So in this case, we know that we just created an invoice. The invoice number was 403. If you don't remember it, you can always display the customer and see what was it. I'm going to minimize it. If I go to my actual name, I display all the transaction that happened in that. What you could do is you could display the customer. I will go at the top, report, and I'm going to go to your receivable, and you can look at your receivable customer age, and then you're going to look at only your name, and then say okay, and it will tell you what they order from us, and then what's the check number, what the invoice number is. So that's what you needed to do, is to check the invoice. So again, it will be done in invoice. The invoice number is 3, and if you're returning it, you have to, beside it, you have to put it in RT, and it's a credit note. CN for credit note, RT for return. When did we return it? We returned it on the 14th. So what are they returning? They're returning the accessories, 10 accessories. When you return it, we purchase from them they purchase 25 AC25 accessories, and they're returning. If you're returning it, it will be -10. So that's what you're going to be doing in -10, and that will be my sales return. So if you look at it, you have to double click on it, and then what we're returning accessories, but then it will be treated. You have to. It's not a. It's a return, so you have to select the account return. So that's what you have to do, because the quantity will automatically be updated with AC when you did minus, but here you have to use a sales return account. Then 4 days are gone by. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 30 minus 4 is 20. 30 minus 4 is 26. So you always, the days that are gone by, you have to minus it. I am going to post this, and that's how you do a return. So oh, I did not see. It says that it does not let you post the post the transaction because I'm trying to do a transaction on the 14th. My session date is 19, so I cannot post this. So I have to close this. I have to discard this transaction, and that's why it's always good to change the session date. I didn't close the windows. We wanted to know all the windows are open, and I hope they are open. Nothing is open because sometimes when you have two screens, split screens, sometimes it becomes a little bit harder for me to see what other screen that is open. So I'm just gonna do it. This screen is open. I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna do it one more time. Nothing else is open. So now what I'm gonna do is change my session date, and now it will let you change the session date to 14, and we say okay. I'm gonna go one more time. I'm going to return from your name. It was 4-3, it was RT, and it was CN for credit note, and it is May 14. You're going to do that, and what we are returning AC 25, and we're returning 10 of them, and it's a -10, and then we're going to change the session date to 6 and change the session date to 24. So that's how we do the entry. So I will post it. Now what we needed to do is we needed to see when the next date is. Next week date is 19. Before it asks me, I'm going to change the session date, and you look for the 19. So at the top, click on the calendar, change it to 19. What did we do? We sold a party dress. So, and we received a check, and it's a senior discount of 10%. They qualify. The check number is 556. So I have a sales invoice. We sold it on the 19th, and it is who did we sell it to? Mrs. Petra Kurek. So that's what we have to do, sell it to. So you could, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add Mrs. Sorry, I'm just gonna copy and paste the name. So this is the name of the person. So I'm gonna go in here, cancel. So I'm gonna control V it, and then if I tab it over, it says you want to do a quick ad or a full ad. At this time, I just wanted to do a quick ad because we don't have any information regarding the ads. And then they paid check, and the check number they given it to us was the check number was 556. So I am going to put a check number will be my 556. So what did we sold? We sold them a party dress. Double click on it, and it is PD 04, and then one bridal, one of them, and that will be the. So now in this case, what we have is we given them the discount. If you gave them the discount, all you have to do is put the discount in here, and we gave them 10% discount. So it automatically takes it out of the discount. So it is a 254, and they gave us the check number. So you could do a quick ad here. So in this case, that's the amount, and I'm going to post that invoice. So I'm going to post this, and then that is then we're going to go to my next journal entry. It says your actual name, dress, check number 16 was paid in full. So again, we're going to go to receipt, and the date is on the 19th, and it is your name, whatever your name is, that's what it is. The receipt number is 613. So if it's 613, now if you look at it, we have a invoice and we have a return. Again, go from the left to the right. So when you go to the left to the right, you will get the exact amount, and then if you display an entry, your entry should look like 2664 48 and 2771. Again, left to the right. We post it, and we say okay. Now we're gonna go to our next one. What is our next one is doing is telling you the bank advised you that the person who gave us a check, and it's an NSF check, so it is for 254, and there's a handling fees of 15. We call it the NSF check, non-sufficient funds. If that's the case, it will be done under the sales invoice. So the check return, when you if check return, you're going to bring that person up. Now you have to send them an invoice because they given us money and that check came back. That check came back on um, that came back with the um, unreturned. So I it should be 404. That should have been next invoice. For some reason I don't know what happened, but technically there should be the invoice should be number should be 444. So I'm just going to see display if I could make a mistake with my account when I selected the invoice for the return. So sorry, I'm gonna do the customer is, I'm gonna do a detail, and I'm gonna press OK. So oh, I think I made I put another 4 in there. That's what the mistake was. So our the invoice number that we're doing, the the invoice number is 404. So it should automatically come. For some reason it's not showing up because I tried to do something earlier. That's why it thinks that I did something, but we will see if we get an error message that it was there before. So you're gonna go to your Mrs. Pertzka, and then what we're doing is what we did is we have 404 and it is NSF check, and then we also have to put it in the check number that they originally gave us was check number 556. In this case it is $15, and then you don't need to input anything. All you have to do is put it under the amount. The amount was 254.25, and there is no HST because we did it charge the HST previously. Double click on it and then you have to put it back in the cash account. So bank and checking account will be we needed to take it, and the next one will be for a handling fees. For handling fees there's a $15. So you're going to do a handling fees, and then we are charging them for one handling fees, and there is no HST on the handling fees here. There's no HST on the handling fees, so the handling your entry will look like that. So there's no 210 net 30. So I am going to post this transaction, and then what we're going to do is post it, and I'm going to say okay. Now I have to advance my date to May 24th. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to change my session date to May 24th, and I'm going to do my next transaction. It says that a new customer, Sarah Higgins, any address information is acceptable. Order address at 900 plus HST bridal gowns. It will be delivered on June 12th. Sale order is 31st. So what we're doing is they given us our deposit, but it's a sales order. So when you do that, you have a sales order, you create a sales order, and what we're going to do is sales order, and what you're going to do is it's with the check they were going to do it. So we're going to do it with the check. The check number they given it to us, check number was 134, and the date is 24th, and in this case it is Sarah Higgs, and we needed to add that Sarah, SAIRA, and it is HEGGIE. Again, any address. So optional, I'm going to say 210 net 30, and the taxes are 13, and then I don't need to worry about anything. I'm going to save and close, but you should enter the address. I'm not entering the address. In this case, I'm not entering I put an extra D in there. So if I make a mistake with the name, I can double click on it and I can change the name. It should be, so it's a Syra. So I'm gonna save and close, so I know that I have the right amount. Again, it was an order, so I double click on the order. Oh no, it is there. I thought maybe I closed the window. So in this case, it is here. It got closed. Again, it's a check, and they given us it's a check. And who is the person? Syra Haggis. And the item they order was they ordered a dress at $900, and it is BG 143. So it is the item they ordered was BG 43. So BG 4143. That's the gown that we ordered, and they order one of them. So it was 900. That's what the price was. But at the end, what they did is they paid us a deposit of $300. So that's what you have to do. Put the deposit in here. So when you do a display and entry, it is only going to show you debit the cash and the accounts receivable. Rest, we haven't delivered the goods, so then there's nothing there. So I will close this, and I will post the transaction. And my next transaction is on the 25th. And they said to order the deposit number. Again, the check number is your deposit number, and that will be your check number was 134, and the deposit number will be, you can put deposit DP, and it is a sales order they're paying for, and the sales order is 31. So we record this transaction, then we will advance our date. Our next transaction is on the 25th. So that's what we have to do. Our next order is on the 25th. I advance my date to the 25th, and I say okay. Once you do that, the 25th bride's dress order and sales order has arrived and is picked up by bridal. Invoice amount per to May 3rd. So what we're doing is we're converting the order into an invoice. So there's two things you could do. You could go into the invoice. So that's what I'm going to do. And when you're going to do it, you're going to click on the order, and they told us if the order number was the 30. I know that. So I'm going to do 30, and then I click somewhere else on the screen. It automatically becomes what they were ordered. So now everything is gone to them. I will say 4 items are delivered if I do the report, and that will be the transactions you had to do. And then again, it is on the date that we're doing it. So when you do this, you are going to get one message saying your order is being filled, that we needed to accept that. So now I'm going to do it. This is the sales order has been filled and will be removed from the system, and I know that that is okay. So we say okay, and we will close everything here, and we're going to look at my next transaction. So this transaction is the owner invested some money into the bank. If they invested into the business, so that entry is not done in the receivable, it is done under the company module. Again, this module was shown to you in our last one. So who told you that this is happening? In this case, you could get a memo from the bank, or the owner can advise you that they did the transfer. So in this case, we know that they did a bank transfer because the owner did a bank transfer. So my source will be a bank transfer. I'm gonna look Control P, and your description will be, again, your comment will be that describes the transaction. You can say that whoever the Mrs. Mehta, what she did is she did an additional transfer. So I'm going to put it, I have to cut and paste twice. I'm going to say Mrs. Mehta is the owner of the company. What she did is she did some additional investment in the business. So I'm going to cut and paste from here. So everything you do, it is coming from here, additional investment. In this case, you debit it, double click on it, and they made an additional investments. In this case, we should have an account called additional investments. If you don't have an account, you could create an account here. So how are you going to create an account? You at the bottom, you're going to create an account. So what you're going to look for it is 3570. Oh, it is there. So I thought I didn't see it. Sorry, 3570. If it wasn't there, you could create it from here. And what did they brought in this case, if debit is a cash, not additional investment, invest cash in a bank account, then you go to my next one. It is 3570, which is your additional investment. And at the right, you could just say additional investment, and I will post it, and my transaction will be done. Now my last transaction will be, oh, I made a mistake. I processed this on the 25th instead of the 31st. So again, don't forget to change the date to 31st before you do the last transaction. If you made a mistake, again, you could bring that transaction up. What you could do is you can adjust for the previously posed transaction, and I have to change the date. When you do that, you make sure you change the dates to the 31st. So when I do that, I will make sure my entry is done. So what it does is when there is a change, it reverses the entry and puts the right one in. There's no mistake, there's no harm in doing that. My next transaction is we issued a next invoice and we sold something to Maryland Bridal. Let's do an invoice. We have to go back to the receivable, click on your invoice, and we're creating a next invoice to Maryland Bridal. So let's do Maryland Bridal, and then that's when we did it on this date, and the item number is for the 20 units, 20 minutes unit. So we provide an alteration for something. So it's only one of them we did. How many we did, how many minutes in this case, it goes by minutes. So it's saying two of the units were provided, not one. So I'm going to say two, and then that will be my transaction. So I will post it, and now I have completed all the transaction. And then your next job will be to produce all the reports that you're asked to do. The first one is customer age detail report, and you have to save it under that. So if I were to go under the reports, go under receivable to the right side, you have to go to customer age, and then make sure it's details is clicked in, and you have to select all the customer, and you say okay, and this is your customer age report. I close it. Then you have all journal entries. Then you could go from the top, or you can go from the bottom here from the report center. I like it from the file window. So I'm going to click on the reports, and then we have a journal entries, and we're going to say all the journal entries, and then what we're going to say okay. So this is the transaction. Again, you could put it in the date from May 1st to May 31st. If you had to do that, go to the reports, and then receivables, and we have a customer aged, and we're gonna do is you can change it to May 31st, because that's what automatically does it from April 30th. So it does it automatically because that's when our first entry was. You have a general journal entries. We have a sales journal entries. These are some of the transactions. So I'm going to go to journal entries. So we have different one. We have a general journal. We did a transaction was for additional investments. So that will be here. So you needed to print that. Then they're asking you for a sales, receipts, and income statement. Again, go to receivables, and you go to journal entries. You could go to sales. You click on the sales, and you display everything. These are my entries. Then you can print it, you can export it, whatever you want to do, or you can put it in the Excel. So that was my sales. Then we have to do another one. The other one you have to do it is for the receipts, and then you say okay. And then my last one is my income statement. Let's go to the income statement, and then we will do an income statement. So I'm just going to close that. I go to the reports, go under financial, and that's my income statement. The income statement we wanted only for the May to May 31st. So you need your calendar, and then make sure you select the date. Sorry, I went too quickly. Select the date from May 1st to the 31st, and that will be your income statement. That's what you're going to do. So this was your lesson on bride's company. So these are some of the the reports you have to print, and these were some of the transactions. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my channel so that you get the next updated video that I post on my website. And don't forget to like it or make a comment what you like about the video and what needs to be changed. Don't forget to do that. Thank you so much for listening to me. Take care and wait till my next video.